So I wanted to record a quick video tonight to talk about how you can install any server onto your computer without actually having to install the server. So one of the things that's kind of frustrating if you're trying to develop with different types of services where you may be using different databases, like you might be using MySQL, or you might be using Postgres, or you might be using Redis or MongoDB, to try to install and have all those different things running on your local machine it can be kind of a pain because the more processes and stuff you have running in the background, the more it can slow your machine down. So it's nice to be able to kind of segment things out so you don't have to actually do that. And one of the tools that's been really handy for developers, I'd say over the last 5 years or so, has been a tool called Docker. So I'm going to take you over here so you can see that. So this is the website here for Docker. You can go over here and install it pretty easily. And it's mainly used as a development tool. Typically, what we'll do is we'll develop an application for a container. And then we can take that image and then upload it to any server that's running Docker. And then it can just run that application. And it has all kinds of benefits in of itself. But when you're developing, one of the things that's also kind of nice is to be able to, if you just want to be able to run something and just have it run temporarily while you're testing something, Docker is an excellent tool for doing that as well. So for this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to install a Docker, actually I'm going to install a Postgres database so I can use it. So let's take a quick look here. And I have a folder here. Let's take a look here. And we can see that I have a couple different folders here. I have a folder here, it's called Postgres Data. And that's because I've already been running a Postgres database for development previously. But what I'd like to do is I'd like to be able to just install a new server and have that running in the background while I'm able to kind of query that database. So I do have data in this folder already, but I'll show you how we can set it up so that we can access the volume locally for storing our data, while we can just blow away the server if we need to. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here and I'm going to type in this Docker command, and I'm going to say Docker run, and to speed things up here, I just have the whole command here. And what this is actually doing is I'm telling you I want to run this as a -d, that means a daemon, and then I'm specifying a name. So I'm giving this the name of dev Postgres, and then the -e is an environment variable. What I'm doing here is I'm just setting up the kind of like the password I'm going to use for this. Don't use this in production. Use something a little bit more secure. And then I'm setting up a volume here. So if you look at this -v here, what I'm doing is I'm pointing to my home directory, and then I'm pointing to this folder here that says Postgres-data. And then I have a colon in between where I want that to map to in the Docker image. And so this right here, this var-led Postgres SQL data, is what's going to be running. It's a path that's going to be running inside of the Docker image that's looking for the data for the database. And then right here, I'm specifying a port that I want to use. The default port for Postgres is 5432, and then I'm telling I want it to actually run Postgres itself. So if I go ahead and hit enter here, we can see it's downloading the image. And now it's downloaded the image and it's actually running the server. So if I come up here and I type in Docker PS, it gives us a list of all the running activities. And sure enough, here is Docker running here, running Postgres for us. So I'm going to pull up a database client here just to test and see if this is working. And so I already have a connection I've created for this dev Postgres. If I come here and I open this up, you can see it's already seeing data in here because I had previously created a database that was using that same path to store the data. And sure enough, there's the table that we can see here. And now I can come in here, I can create tables, I can do queries and stuff like that. I can have local code that I'm running here to be able to call that. But this is a really handy if you need to be able just to kind of like run a server without having to worry about installing it onto your system. You can just run it as a Docker image. So just a couple last points here. One thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to come over here, I'm going to run the Docker stop. And I gave it that name of dev Postgres. So now if I come over here and I say Docker and PS, it doesn't show that it's running. It's actually, it's not active right now. But if I come over here and I do Docker PS -A, this shows that I do have the image here. It's just not running. But at any point I want to, I can start that back up. So I can just come back over here. I can say Docker start dev Postgres, and that starts it back up. I can come over here, Docker PS, and you can see that it's running. And then I can do Docker stop, and that'll stop the server. So if you like this content, you'd like to see more content like this, please give me a thumbs up. And if you could, subscribe to the channel, and I'll make more videos like this. Have a nice evening.